creating a video for my application for a SMART Exemplary Educator. I'm going to show you an excerpt from the 6-hour training that we give our teachers here in the district so that they can receive a SMART airliner and use that airliner in their room. But we require that they attend the training so that then they'll be able to use the software. So we'll restart later. So going into one of the pages, and this is one of my favorite pages to teach, and it's how to use the drop-down menu, and then also how to use the resize and the rotation button or handlebars that are around the object. And I think this is important because if they know how to use all these tools to edit and change the lessons that they download and how to break them down, they'll be able to take those lessons they download from Smart Exchange and be able to make them their own and put the important content that they need for their classroom. So we first start with the resize and the rotate. And I ask them what they notice about the object, and most of them say there's a green dot at the top, there's a triangle here and a white dot here. And then we talk about, well, what do you think the green does? In other applications, what does the green dot do? And it's a rotate. And then I want to talk about the icon that shows up for the cursor and how it's a circle of arrows, and that is a universal type icon for things, to have things rotate. Then we also talk about the resize here and how nice and pretty the SMART objects in the gallery are and how smooth they are, even though you can make them the size of the page or really small. The next thing we go on to is talking about cloning and infinite cloning, and this is where we really dive into the drop-down menu. So the drop-down menu has several choices here. You can clone, you can cut, which that means to take it away, copy, delete, which they're all familiar with those, but then as it goes further down, they're not as familiar with these. And then we talk about the infinite cloner. And so I ask them what they mean by clone, and then we talk about how it makes an instant copy on that page and why you would want to use that clone button. Then we talk about copy and why it's important to copy, maybe to take it from page to page or application. And then also the infinite cloner, which is one of my personal favorites because you can infinitely clone. Then the last thing I'm going to talk about with you today, as you know, we go on and we do this whole thing and it takes us a lot longer than I'm taking with you now, but we do talk about lock. And how when you lock something, we say what's missing. So your rotate's missing and your resize missing. We talk about why that's important. And how to unlock, how to lock and move so that only the object is movable. And then also allow it to move and rotate, how they can only rotate it. Great use for tangrams, for rulers. I want to show you also a lesson that I do that I made for a teacher. We do model lessons in our job, in our position, and this is just an example of something we made to make it interactive. And it's all about rounding numbers. And it's a 3rd grade teacher who asked me, and she said, we do roller coasters. Well, I didn't have a roller coaster, so I made a hill. So the purpose of is they take the car and they place it where 45 would be, and then they decide, does it roll down the hill, round up to 50, or go to 40? This one's a 5, so it would roll down to 50. Then they take the next one, so this one's 42. This one would roll backwards to 40. The next slide after we do the hills and the cars is a hands-on where the students come up and actually write with the airliner as we pass it around, and they come over here and they would underline the tens place, look to the right, decide if that number is bigger than 5 or smaller than 5. If it is, then they would write the answer. Of course, the better color would be to use black to write the answer in. And then they take the magnifying glass and view to see if that was the right answer or not. And then they can erase and see whether it was right. And we did this with all the different problems here. And then we took it a step up and went to the hundreds place and didn't just leave them at the tens. So we revisited except using hundreds, and then we did a practice. Every student in the class got a chance to use the airliner and had practice writing and moving their cars. So those are just a few of the examples that we use here at Tomball ISD to help teachers understand and use SMART Technologies equipment and software.